Professionals in any field of work, what's the most ridiculous thing someone outside of your profession has claimed to know more about than you? Not a super cool job, but I deliver chips to stores. I had the milk delivery guy ask me why I was bringing in more product than the guy before me had. I said because we needed it. He said that couldn't be true, because milk sales hadn't risen. What the duck do milk sales have to do with chips? Similar to this, but I once had a staph infection on the outside of my left ankle. So crutching into school on the first day, a classmate walks up to me and asks why I'm on crutches, so I tell him, and his response is, well, my brother had that once, and he didn't need crutches, so I asked him where it was. He said, on his arm. A know-it-all told me, a professional musician / music instructor, that his favorite piece of music, of which he claimed expertise, was Bach's Fifth Symphony. When I politely commented that Bach never wrote any classical symphonies, and that perhaps he meant Beethoven, the guy simply said that he knew what he knew, and that's all that mattered. Pharmacist. Have had more than one person try to convince me that their liver was special, and that they developed a tolerance to enormous doses of Tylenol. Pro tip, you do not develop a tolerance to acetaminophen, and no one gets to exceed 4,000 milligrams a day. Mostly, these patients have developed a tolerance to hydrocodone, and are looking for ridiculous fills of Vicodin. So, Dr. A has given you the maximum dosage. I cannot fill the prescription from Dr. B. Duck you, my liver is special. Runner up, pick anything said by Dr. Oz. Duck Dr. Oz. Social worker here. I had a banker try to tell me human trafficking didn't exist, because she had never personally met anyone who had been a victim. Theoretical physicist. We regularly get emails from armchair scientists who claim to have reconciled quantum field theory with general relativity, or shown how everything Einstein ever did was wrong. Some of these contain hundreds of pages of neatly handwritten or typed mathematical equations. I am not sure what to think of these people. I think many of them are mentally unwell, and hope they get the help they need. But a part of me wants to believe that there is a misunderstood genius out there, whose groundbreaking research will be discovered in a pile of rubbish. That would be one heck of a story. So to the best of my ability, I try to give each email a fair chance until I spot an obvious BS. I almost never make it to the second paragraph. I'm zookeeper. Please enlighten me as to why tigers make wonderful pets. Well, obviously kitties are awesome. Tigers are, a lot, more kitty, and therefore a lot more awesome. Flawless logic, no? I'm a water professional. Been told numerous times there are no asbestos water pipes. I've been told that would be illegal and unethical. Asbestos concrete pipes are one of the most common types of water and sewer pipes. When I bought a house, people told me not to bother with an asbestos check because it's been banned for decades. 1. It's only been banned since 2003. 2. The house was built in the 80s. I'll leave it up to the professionals to tell me. My mom was having intermittent trouble with her internet connection. I'm an IT, and, as all people in IT know, you become the family tech person. I went to investigate. Mom had a network cable running from her computer to an extra modem under her desk. The modem was connected to a coax cable running from the wall. Her house already had a modem and a wireless router. I asked her why she had a second modem under her desk. She told me that she'd complained to the man who'd just installed her dishwasher that her internet wasn't working well. He'd offered to take a look, and, finding an extra modem in the basement, fixed the problem for her. None of this really bothered me, as much as how hard I had to argue with her that this wasn't helping. She was convinced that, because she trusted the guy, he had to be right. She finally relented when, face in my hands, I moaned, I do this for a ducking living. Lawyer, and most clients are fine, but about 5% act like they know the law better than you, because they did a Google search or read a Wikipedia article. Me, we can sue for A and B, not C or D. Client, why can't we sue for C? I read something that says we can. Me, I've researched it, and it's not supported by the law and we'd lose. Client, put it in anyway. Me, I can't put in things we can't defend. They'll just get thrown out anyway, and it will turn the judge off to our good claims if we include a lot of junk claims. Client, I don't think you're doing everything you can to win my case. Maybe I'll find another lawyer. My client has advised me to. Equals, my client is a dumbass, but he's paying me to insist on this. I'm a standard small shop barista, and once a girl asked me to make her a hot chocolate with a shot of espresso, which is what a mocha is, since we use the same chocolate powder for both types of drinks. I tell her, oh, do you mean a mocha? If I charge you for a hot chocolate plus the extra shot, it will be more expensive than if I just charge you a mocha, ma'am. She proceeds to tell me she knows more about coffee, and that the two are totally different due to the different way we prepare the chocolate. Instead of arguing with her, I go ahead and make her the drink, but had already written the M for mocha on her drink label. When I hand her the drink, she proceeds to get hella angry and demand I remake her drink like she said, a hot chocolate with an extra shot. So I go back to the bar and basically just put her old drink into a new cup with the HC for hot chocolate. She takes a sip and goes, yep, much better. I'm a radio presenter. I once spent 15 minutes at a dinner listening to a woman tell me that I didn't work on a certain radio station that I had worked on for 6 years. It was quite honestly the maddest thing I'd ever heard. No. It's not that one. And if you don't really understand, don't worry. Me neither. Environmental scientist here. How much time you got? Ha ha ha. Look at all the air pollution coming from that power plant. That's a nuclear plant. I know, all that smoke must be radioactive. Historian. The amount inaccurate shit I hear about Hitler could write a book in and of itself. EMT. Went to a chest pain call out for an older guy. The wife kept insisting that he just needed a few more sprays of her GTN, a potent and potentially dangerous oral spray used to treat angina, and he would be fine. She had already administered goodness knows how much before we got there, which had tanked his blood pressure to dangerously low levels. Also, after checking him over, it became pretty clear the pain was a result of a chest infection, and not a cardiac event. So as we transport him and try to prevent him from dying from the overdose of medicine she gave him, she is still harping on that we need to give him more, because she knows it will work. When we turn our backs, she whips out a bottle of it and tries to give him another couple of doses. After we confiscated it and sat her back down, she demanded we let her use our truck cell phone to call our manager and complain that we were idiots and didn't know our job. When we got to the hospital, she then tried to convince the staff there to dose her husband with unnecessary and potentially lethal medication. When we left, I noticed security attempting to disarm her of her bottle of GTN. We gave it back when we got to the ER. Presumably she tried to dose him again. I'm a mechanic by trade. A guy I know bought an older European sports car to fix up. It doesn't run, so he got it cheap. I told him that it's definitely going to cost him way more than he thinks, and it's not going to be easy for him to do himself. Not to mention the difficulties of finding parts for it. He would probably save money if he just bought a new one. He just blew it off and gave me some strange twisted reasoning about how he can do it cheaper and make it better. Okay dude, whatever. So far he's sunk thousands of dollars into it and it still doesn't run. I believe that he's pretty well invested into the sunk cost fallacy at this point. Bye bye retirement fund. I used to run a pub, and there's a classic saying, everyone knows how to do two jobs. Their own, and running a pub. Writing professor. Usually commentary on how technology has ruined millennials' ability to write. I also teach writing. I remember the first time, maybe 8 years ago, that a student turned in a paper in which she wrote, you, instead of you. I thought it was the beginning of the end. It hasn't happened again since. Young people are amazingly skilled at adapting their writing to the audience, context, and medium. MD, MPH, epidemiologist. People who are against all vaccinations. A doctor here on Reddit once told a story about an anti-vax mom who brought her sick kid in. The doctor explained that the child had measles. The anti-vax mom rolled her eyes and said, hasn't medical science developed a cure for measles yet? I'm a commercial property manager. In certain commercial leases, it's the tenant's responsibility to maintain plumbing, HVAC, etc. So you don't call your manager and demand your bulbs need to be replaced, or toilets leaking like you would in residential. One of my properties had a main meter from the city, then sub-meters to the individual suites. Our meters were monitored and billed by a third party, who would then let us know if a tenant's usage had spiked. We would let the tenant know that they probably needed to investigate, since something on their side of the meter was possibly leaking. We notified the tenant. He freaks out and tells us nothing is leaking. He freaks out further when his bill is 4 times higher. I tell him again, maybe get a plumber to investigate. He says he doesn't need a plumber because he's a water engineer. Side note, his business was one of those mailbox stores in a shopping center. Turned out his toilet was running. I'm a teacher, so literally everything and anything to do with my job. I graduated high school, therefore I know everything you need to teach. I've had a baby, therefore I know everything about childhood development. I voted, therefore I know everything about government mandates about education. I'm a tattoo artist. Had a client try and tell me how I should go about tattooing color. She was completely wrong, and wouldn't believe me when I tried to explain how tattooing actually worked, because her cousin told her how it is. Also had someone tell me once that they thought tattooing seemed pretty easy, and that they could probably do pretty well at it because they decorated cakes at Hy-Vee. Working in VFX, you will now and again expose someone to a naturally photographed shot you haven't worked on yet, only to hear that it looks fake. Similarly, a shot in which many things are indeed fake, some yuts will inevitably pick out a real object and say it needs to be redone to fit in better. It just doesn't look like a natural part of the scene. Say what? It looks too synthetic. It's a physical prop, shot in camera. What did you do to it? I let light fall on it in front of a light sensor. Bartender. I'm consistently amazed at how little people know about alcohol. I've got a million stories, but there's one request I've been getting a lot lately. My bar has a Long Island variation, that's essentially a shot each of tequila, vodka, rum and gin, along with peach schnapps, Sprite, and 2 very sugary fruit juices topped with grenadine. People have been requesting this drink without the grenadine, because they think that extra sugar is what's making them hungover. Nah man. You're hungover because you just took 4 shots and consumed 80 grams of sugar. Trust me, that less than a quarter ounce of grenadine is not going to make a difference. I'm an airline pilot. Apparently I'm the only person that doesn't know how this stuff work. At least once a month, since I don't know how any of this works, someone will tell me how flying, airlines, weather, cancellations, maintenance, everything works. I usually have to hold my tongue. But when I don't, the usual response after I explain something is, no, but this was different. Such things that I don't understand. The plane went vertical. The pilot gunned it. The pilot came on the intercom and said we're gonna crash. The flight attendant told us they don't know what's going on. This has never happened before. The plane was about to break up. Had someone argue with me that vaccines gave their child Down syndrome. Yep. Injecting and suspecting babies with extra chromosomes. I did have a wonderful encounter with a guy who was telling me all about his magnificent new romance novel, and how it was destined to be a bestseller. He was looking down on me on account of being self-published, despite, you know, doing pretty okay financially speaking, and that he was sure it would only be a matter of time before an agent picked up his, I shit you not, 7-part BDSM masterpiece. Really? He'd gone full Wheel of Time on this mother ducker. Absolutely nothing had been left on the table. He'd worked every possible kink you could think of into it. It was like someone had tried playing Mad Libs with their genitals, and oh, was he eager to go into details. He asked me if I wanted to read it, and I said sure, why not? Maybe it would turn out to be better than I was expecting, which, I can't stress enough, was not a high bar. We were talking on OkCupid, and his command of the English language left a lot to be desired. Maybe he was looking for free editing, or someone to fluff his ego. I asked him if he wanted to email me a copy, or? Nope. Oh, I haven't actually finished it yet, he said. I've just done the first 5,000 words or so. But I've got it all planned out. Writing's the easy bit. Sure thing buddy. Whatever you say. Lawyer here. Someone just told me I was an asshole because I would not answer a real estate question involving a document I had never heard of for a deal in a jurisdiction I don't practice in. Told me I had to know about it and was just being difficult.